So let's launch a photo campaign. There are two types of photo campaigns you can run. There's a photo contest where people submit an entry and then other people vote on it, and the person with the most vote wins. There's also a photo gallery, which is just a UGC, which stands for user generated content gallery that you host with your branding all over the place. And it helps you share those submissions to your social feeds. And it also helps them share it across their social feeds. And it's a fantastic way to have a visual representation of your brand. So the people that tend to do photo contests are typically clients that have something that is visually appealing as a product line, or maybe they have a service where something is transformed, because we do have before and after as a two photo option. But also we've had people even in like the financial sector run these just based on themes that are going on in their region. And if there is a themed contest you can run, that's fantastic, because even if you have a really boring product that you sell that has nothing visual at all attached to it, there's always a theme that you can encourage people to get behind and submit some photos around that theme and get your branding out there. It just helps bring whimsy and fun around your brand. It's very engaging, and it's a new way to not only engage the clients that you already have through sending them an email, like reminding them periodically about this contest and how things are going, but also your social channels. Like your social feed is going to be a lot more fun if you have all of these photo entries automatically popping up in your feed, encouraging people to go and vote on them. So I'm going to show you now how to create one of these campaigns. First thing you do is you go to the campaigns item in the left nav, click Add New. Now we're going to filter for photo. And what I'd like to do is a photo contest. Photo galleries, the setup is exactly the same, except there are fewer options. So if you know how to do a photo contest, you certainly know how to put together a photo gallery, because none of that contest mechanism is there to set up. So I'm going to choose Mother's Day because Mother's Day is right around the corner where I live. And I'm going to click Use this template, but I do encourage you guys to preview it first, make sure it looks the way you like. And also setup instructions is good to click, just as kind of a checklist that you can move off to the side that you can follow. But since this is a video, I'm not going to use the setup instructions. I'm just going to use this template. So our software is now creating the entire campaign, all the email notifications, the design, everything. And all we need to do is edit that campaign that it just created. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change this to Mother's Day Photo Contest 2024. That will help identify it. That way next year I can just hit the copy button and it will replicate the entire contest next year, and I can run it again with almost zero effort. So display posts or display photos is just that. We will actually show a screen when they first go to the campaign that shows all the entries. If you're doing a contest, it's really essential that you do this at least until the winner is announced. Then you can, you would still want to leave this there so people can see what the photos are that were submitted. Collect photos. This is super, super important. You want to be able to capture these photos. You can turn this off if you wish after the contest has ended. That way it's just displaying those photos. So if anybody comes in too late, the collect photos is no longer available because the contest has ended. At least you can display those photos and people can see the entries, and it will even show who won with a little flag by their name. So now we have another option. We can allow one photo or allow up to two photos. If you allow up to two, it's going to ask you what the heading should be over the photo. So for example, you might have a before and after. This is usually done during transformations. So in this contest, we're going to be doing like, hey, why is your mom the greatest? And people are going to give a photo of their mom. I don't think two photos is appropriate for that. But if you're doing like a transformation, a before and after, let's say you sell beauty products and you encourage people to say, hey, I want to see a before photo and I want to see an after photo once you've used our product. Those are fantastic. You'd want to set after photo and before photo something like that as your heading. And for now, I'm going to leave that off because we're only going to allow the one photo. So rules and disclaimers, I do recommend rules if you have a contest that you're running. So 2 ways to add rules. First of all, you can change the link text. So it might say contest rules, might be more appropriate. You can either link to rules on your website. So you might want it to be fully branded and drive people to your website to see the rules. Personally, I prefer to just use this method, which is if you paste text here, full contest rules, you would want to use like a lawyer, or if you can't afford that, go use ChatGPT, create rules for your contest. And even if you use ChatGPT, you should have it reviewed by an attorney, which should be much cheaper than having them create it from scratch. But if you paste that here with formatting, like line breaks at least, it will observe that formatting. And when somebody clicks that contest rules link on any page of your contest, it will actually pop up your rules and it won't take them away from the contest. So that's why I prefer this method right here. Submission form. Now, we have a whole separate video on how to create or edit a submission form. I'm going to choose our default submission form. And this is what people will submit when they're entering their photo. List integration. If you have already gone up to the top right here and added an integration, let's say you're using MailChimp or any of these other providers, and even providers that aren't listed here, we've got an integration method for you. So go up and integrate your email service provider if you want all the people that join your photo contest to be added to your mailing list. Well, this is a great way of doing that without having to export a spreadsheet at the end of the contest. It will just automatically be added to your lists. It also works great with things like Salesforce and whatever CRM you're using. The email notifications, we've already created one for you, and we have a full separate video on how to edit or add fresh email notifications with your branding. So I encourage you to watch that if you want to customize this. Contest options. Okay, so you can either have this start immediately, which is the default, or you can have it start at a future date. If you do that, it will tell people to wait, and it will give them a countdown timer showing them when it will start. The end date is required, and there's a couple of ways you could do the end date. The easiest way is to do one contest period. So basically, at the end of when this date comes around, this is July 26, 2099, for example, but when the contest ends, you can make it so it's not going to accept submissions or votes after that time period. But if you want to, you can create 2 contest periods, and this creates 2 specific ends to your event. The first phase of the contest will allow photo submissions. And once and that's this date right here. Once this date comes around, then and only then can people start voting. They cannot vote during the entry period. Once this date comes around, you can no longer enter, and then you can start voting. And then this date is the full end of the contest. And that's when you tabulate your votes and you decide who wins. And our system helps you do that. So there's a couple ways of doing it, and a couple schools of thought here. Personally, I like the one contest period because the 2 contest periods, people might only go to this page once. And if they go to the page one time only, like let's say somebody is really popular and they have a lot of followers on social media. If they go and submit their photo, it's going to prompt them to share. So if they're sharing at that time and people click through, it's going to tell them to wait. It's going to capture their email address and say, hey, I'm going to email you when voting starts. But there's no guarantee they're going to come back. We will notify them when it's time to start voting, and hopefully they'll click the link and then come back and vote. But there's a chance that might not happen, and this way is guaranteed. Once they submit their entry, they can share, the person can click through, all their friends can vote on it, and you won't get any issues in your help desk saying, hey, why can people not vote? So this way is super clear and easy to use, so I do recommend using this. We do still send a last chance to share and vote email and reminder 5 days prior to the end date. So let's see here. So one contest period voting notification. Let's see here. What this is you are actually able to edit the email that is sent out 5 days prior to the end date to the people that submitted their entry. So what this is doing is encouraging them to share again, saying, hey, you've got one last chance, 5 days left. If you can share this with your followers, you're going to get a much better outcome and better chance to win. So what you're looking at here, this is actually every single notification email that is defaulted in our system. If you want, you can create your own, or you can edit the one that we already prepare for you and just add your branding to it, make it special, make it personalized, and that will be really helpful for getting those last minute shares. Voting frequency. So I'm going to leave this at per campaign. And what this is you can actually allow people to vote every day. And this is a way to get people to continue to come back and share on that campaign page. They can come back. This also gives the people that enter a reason to share more often. They might continue to say, hey, it's a new day. It's a new chance to go and vote for my entry. But since this is a Mother's Day campaign and I want to keep it simple, we're just going to do once per campaign. And if one of their friends votes, they can no longer vote again. Duplicate vote blocking. I recommend leaving this as standard. It's only if in a previous contest, if your particular followers tend to cheat a lot, we have cheating mechanisms in place that blocks cheating and duplicate voting. But if you turn strict on, it's really strict. And there is a chance that, like, let's say that you have somebody who votes within a building. Everybody else in that building probably won't be able to vote because it's going to block the entire IP address for that building. So I recommend standard. And the vote counter, you'll have to think about this one. I love vote counters because, people can see what other people are doing and which ones are popular. Some people like to hide the vote count for all entries. That way, nobody knows who's doing well and who's not. Another option is something in between, and you can wait until voting ends and then hide the vote counts. What this does is keep some suspense. I really like this one because during the time of voting, when there's that frenzy, people that enter, they're going to want to know how they're doing. And that way they can see how they're doing during voting, but it's going to give that suspense once the voting period ends. And that way people are kind of waiting with bated breath for you to announce the winner. So this one is a lot of fun. Let's use this one. So this is the design screen. I have a whole video in our tutorials on how to use the design editor. So I really encourage you to use that. As you can see, this is a really fun background. It's a GIF, so there's images that are illustrated and coming and going. So it's a lot of fun. But you might want to add like your logo up here, but just know you can always click inside here and make any changes you want. Like photo contest, you can just change. And you would also want to change fabulous prize to whatever it is you're giving away, of course. And maybe even give a small image of what the prize is. But each one of these screens, you would want to go and edit. Like even the thank you screen that allows them to share at the end, you can actually change the thank you message just by clicking and making those edits. So I'm going to move on to the social share step. So we are definitely going to allow users to share their submissions to social. And the link to share should usually be campaign microsite. And the only time you would not use this is if you are embedding this campaign to a page on your website. Then you would want to use website, and you would want the link that people share when they say, hey, go vote for my photo. You'd want them to share a link to that page on your website. And this is what you would use. Personally, I don't recommend you do this. I'd rather see you use the campaign microsite because we know it's going to be fully mobile responsive, look great on any device, and it's going to work great. If you put it on your website, there are chances of JavaScript interactions that cause strange problems. And if you want to make sure everything goes smoothly in your campaign, I highly recommend using a campaign microsite. So you can add a default comment in the share message. So after they submit their entry, it would say like, I submitted an entry in this photo contest, use this link and go vote for mine. You can update this if you want. You can also add a coupon or a white paper to this social share. You can override the account moderations or the campaign. By default, it's going to default to whatever you have in your workspace or account preferences. Generally, it's going to be one click to approve. That way, everybody who submits a photo, it's not just going to show up on the contest page. You have to approve it first through one click in your email inbox. However, if you want to override that, you can make it so it immediately approves without you having to do anything. You can also, this is very powerful, okay? You can also publish the approved submissions to your social accounts. And this is so great for photo contests because now you can say, okay, I'm going to say this Twitter account and my Instagram and this particular Facebook page, as soon as I approve a photo submission, we already know their first and last name because we collected that in the entry field, the submission fields of the custom form. So if their name is Janet White, then it's going to post their photo entry on your social feeds, and it's going to say Janet White just submitted this to our Mother's Day photo contest campaign. If you're in any kind of a sensitive industry or you're worried about it, you might want to just remove that last name and just share their first name because it's still fun to say, hey, Janet just submitted this. That way you're kind of giving them a little call out, but you're also giving yourself that precious user-generated content that shows your social networks how important your feed is, because you're going to get a lot of engagements on these particular types of posts. Once you're done with this, you're going to click continue. And now you're all done. You're going to have a way to, you're going to get a link in this area over here where you can just copy the link and email that to everybody in your database. You can add a widget to your website. So you would just take this pre-written code and give it to your webmaster to add to your website or your blog. And note that there's several different types of widgets. You can embed it with an iframe. You can have a little sticky tab on the right side that stays there during the contest period. You can have a pop-up that if they try to leave your website or blog, it says, hey, have you checked out our contest? So it's just a lot of fun, and I hope you guys get really great results from this.